Hey everyone, today I'm coming to you with a review on the brand new Marvel Legends Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 Miles Morales. Now I did get this figure at GameStop Canada. I got the whole wave at GameStop Canada, matter of fact, and I will be doing reviews for each and every figure in this wave as the order shows on the back of the box. I'm going to start off with him, then I'm going to do Spider-Gwen and then Spider-Man 2099 and then so on and so forth until we get to the Cyborg Spider-Woman, which isn't technically in the wave, but I think I'm going to do a wave ranking in that video because, let's be honest, she is the Build-A-Figure. But wow, I have to say I am very, very surprised and impressed with not only this figure, but the whole wave in general. When the figures were revealed and leaked, I was very, very scared, as were a lot of people. They just did not look good. They didn't look like Marvel Legends, and they certainly didn't look like the price. And I don't know why that was, because now that I have them in person, I definitely don't feel that whatsoever, at least in my opinion. But I don't know if that was just how the photo was leaked or how the photo is on the back of the box, but the figures did not look good. Some people went as far as calling them Happy Meal toys, which that is a little far, but you know, I kind of understand that from some points. But now that I have them in person, I really have to be honest, I absolutely love each and every one of these figures, and I think you will too if you watch some of these reviews and if you get some of them as well. They aren't as bad as I think most people were expecting. But as for this figure in specific, I have a lot to say, so I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into the review for the brand new Marvel Legends Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Miles Morales. Now, before I go over the Miles Morales figure, as always, I do want to start off with the packaging. And I have to say, not only with this Miles, but with all the figures in this wave, this packaging is kind of my biggest disappointment and my biggest gripe with all of them, which I guess that could be a good thing in some cases, but I really don't think it is, and I'll explain why. This packaging is a result of the plastic-free packaging shift. Now, we know that next year that is getting phased out, but when this was designed, they did not know that, and they hadn't planned that out yet. So they went out of their way to make this retro-carded design for an upcoming movie, so it's not really a retro card, and all the retro cards are exactly the same. They all have the same exact art, and I really don't like that. And it sounds kind of like a bad gripe, but the reason is they did this so we could see the figure, which, yeah, that's cool, but when we get these retro cards, we have two options. We either get the retro card or we get a plastic-free packaging figure with a Build-A-Figure. And in this case, with this Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse wave, we don't get any Build-A-Figure, and a lot of the figures feel a little bit light for the price that you are paying. And then you have the Cyborg Spider-Woman figure, which is a $75, $80 figure here in Canada, whereas it could have been a free Build-A-Figure with each and every one of these figures, and I way rather would have preferred that. And not only with this wave, but with the upcoming Spider-Man wave, which that never would have happened. Those are brand new arts on the packaging. We're getting plastic packaging for those figures so they can show them, but we don't get any Build-A-Figure. It's a very big disappointment for me and a lot of people because these cards aren't even really anything special, and they take away us getting a Build-A-Figure, which a lot of the time adds a lot of value to these figures, especially when the prices are going up like they are. But I guess that is a rant for this video. I'm not going to try to do it for each and every video because that'll just make them very, very long. But as for this packaging, you do have Miles Morales on the front. It does say each and every character of each of the characters. Not going to just say Miles Morales on each of them. That kind of would be cool, but you have Miles, Spider-Man 2099, and Spider-Gwen there. All three of those are on all of the packaging. On the very top, you do have the Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse logo. There is your price, which is a little bit more hefty than your standard price, but also at the same time pretty similar. And then you kind of have some animated Spider-Verse kind of stuff on the background, which does look cool, I guess. On the back, you have all the figures in this wave, which this is the order that I will be doing the reviews in. There you have the Miles Morales figure, and this was the image that I believe leaked with the Miles Morales, and I have to say, this looks very, very bad. This doesn't really look a lot like the figure. Like, yeah, it does look similar, but it is a lot darker, and you can't see some of the joints, so it just makes it look like a kind of 5 POA cheaper Hasbro figure, as do a lot of these figures. And I do understand, just looking at the back of this, these don't look that good, but I have to say, once again, now that I have them in person, they're way better than I was expecting. So I don't know what to say. It's kind of a weird thing because, yeah, you get to see the figure, but for a lot of people, they were way worse than a figure in plastic-free. So maybe they should have put them in plastic-free packaging so we wouldn't have seen them in the packaging. I just find that odd because people complain about, you know, the plastic-free packaging, but we have plastic packaging here, and people are like, oh, no, they look bad, but Hasbro decided to put them in this packaging. I don't know. It's just really weird to me. This whole packaging design is very, very off to me. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. Do you share the same opinion? Do you not? I don't know if I'm being too harsh on it, but it really does disappoint me that, you know, these figures are getting so expensive and we get this packaging instead of getting a Build-A-Figure, especially when I had to go out of the way to buy, or everyone has to go out of their way if they want that Cyborg Spider-Woman, which should have been the Build-A-Figure for $75 to $80, which is a very, very hefty price, whereas it should have been free. But I guess that's all I really have to say on the packaging. I don't want to make this video too long, so let's get on to the actually amazing part of this video, being the Miles Morales figure. And here we have the Miles Morales figure himself, looking very, very good, might I add, as well as his alternate head and his extra set of hands. Now, I do want to start off with the alternate unmasked head, and don't get me wrong, I like it. I think it looks exactly like him. I think they did a pretty good job. It is definitely a little bit shiny, but most of these photoreal heads are. The thing that I don't like about it is the expression of all the faces he could have been making. He's a very expressive character. It's animated. That kind of goes without saying. He could have been smiling. He could have been angry. He could have been completely something else. But he looks like he walked in on something he shouldn't have seen. This is it's funny to me. I'm not mad about it. It's just a very, very funny expression to me. Let me know what you think of it in the comments below. No. It's just very, very odd. But the hair does look very, very good. And yeah, it looks exactly like him. Don't get me wrong. I just find the expression they went with to be very odd. And at least on my copy, he has a little bit of that white photoreal paint kind of going on his nose, which isn't the greatest. I guess I should have looked at alternate copies in the store, but I kind of just glimpsed at it and it did look good. But I wish I would have done that, especially when we get onto this head, which yeah, it looks good, looks pretty good, but on the top, mine has this big dent, which kind of bothers me, and, I don't want to have him, like, when I was taking the thumbnails, that was kind of getting in the thumbnail and was looking very, very shiny, so, I don't know, it just looks very odd to me, and that does kind of disappoint me, but not too much. It's not too big of a deal, but I don't know. I just think they could have done a little bit better QC-wise with these head sculpts. They always can do better with the QC on all Hasbro products, but I don't know. I just think that is a little bit of a gripe on mine, but I do have to say I love the dark blue that is going on with that head and kind of just the whole figure in general. I really do like what they have going on here, and I find that the eyes are perfect to how they look in the movie, well, the trailers at least, and I guess the previous movie because it is a fairly similar design, but you can switch the heads. It is a very, very small ball joint, and just like so, and there he is. Oh my god. Is this just funny to me? I don't know. It's just a very weird expression to me. But yeah, I'm going to keep that off because I like it, but I'm certainly not going to have him displayed with it. I really do like this head a lot more. But he does have an extra set of hands, which there's nothing too special there. They do have the same kind of textured detail, which is nice, but I'm probably going to have him with the whipping hands or one of each. I don't know. I'm going to decide when I display him. But yeah, nice accessories to get. Maybe we could have gotten wall crawling hands, but not too big of a deal. I'm happy with the accessories. Just once again, I'm going to say it for the last time, weird expression. And here we have the Miles Morales figure himself, and I have to first off say that I'm very impressed with Hasbro's ability to translate the movie animated design into figure form, and a lot of people, at least from what I've seen, don't share that same opinion. They think it makes the figures look cheap, and they just don't translate well in general into figure form, the animated style at least, but I kind of shared that opinion, but now that I got these figures in person, and when I have them all lined up specifically, I think they look like phenomenal. They look really, really good, and specifically on this Miles Morales and the Spider-Gwen, which I will show in the comparisons, it translates the best because they have the skinniest proportions of not only this wave, but of all Marvel Legends of just all time. It's kind of impossibly skinny how these figures get. My friend called it Spaghetti Spider-Man, which, yeah, that does make sense, but it is very, very skinny, and I was very scared when I opened this figure because I've never really felt anything like it, as it is, like I said, the skinniest Marvel Legends that we have gotten in the line, so I was very scared when I was opening it that it would break, but once I kind of understood the figure and posed it around, it isn't as, fragile as I thought, but when you pull this out, you will probably have that same experience. You're going to think that it is a very fragile figure, but definitely I would recommend heat it up, as I recommend that with all of my figures. I think you should do that because a lot of the times they can be stiff, but specifically with this one and the Spider-Gwen, because they are so skinny, I would definitely recommend doing that with those two figures at least. Well, all figures, but specifically these two because they are so skinny. I would hate for your figures to break, and I think once you understand how to pose them, and if you've played around with them for a bit, you won't be as intimidated by that, but that is definitely a factor with these figures. And a lot of people were saying that they did look like Happy Meal toys and that they did kind of look toyish, but I have to disagree with that because if anything, these are the one Marvel Legends that I would highly not recommend to kids because of how fragile they are, which is kind of shocking. I wouldn't have expected to say that when I saw the images, but don't get these for your kids, as I would guarantee they would probably break if you don't know what you're doing with these. I didn't when I took it out of the box, but yeah, just be very, very careful with those figures overall. But for the actual sculpt on this figure, I'm very, very impressed with this texture that Hasbro added. It's on the figure head to toe, and I really do think that adds a lot to this figure. But what I really, really do enjoy with this whole costume design in general is the added blue. I think that makes this figure look so, so good, and I'm really, really excited to see what this costume looks like in the movie. It kind of just gives very, very small vibes of just a normal Spider-Man Peter Parker costume with just the kind of lighter blue and the lighter red, but on this figure, it's obviously a lot darker, and that was not present by any means on the Into the Spiderverse design. That was completely black and red, I believe, but I do prefer this design overall, and like I said, I can't wait to see this movie in general, but I'm really excited to see all the designs of these figures translated into the actual movie, or, you know, vice versa, you get what I mean, but I'm just really enjoying the colors that we have going on with this figure. I think it is a very, very good choice by Sony / Hasbro, well, Sony in general, because they designed the actual concept of the figure. But yeah, it looks very, very good. The next thing that I want to go over with this figure is the spider logos. There's one on the front and the back. I'm going to start with this one. It is quite similar to the previous movie design. It just doesn't have that dripping spray paint look, and that kind of goes for the whole costume in general. This is a way more professionally designed costume, whereas that previous one from the previous movie is kind of a homemade suit, and I love that costume. It certainly is iconic, but this is definitely a way more professionally designed suit. I don't know if he made it. I wonder if he made it. I'm really excited to see if he did. I wouldn't put it past him, but it looks like kind of like a Stark tech suit. I know it isn't because he's not going to be in the movie, at least I don't think, but it just looks very, very good overall. Now, for the one on the back, I love this one. It kind of spreads across his whole back across. Whenever I say across, I just think of the title of the movie, but I think that looks very, very good. And then the paint does go very well on the texture. It kind of doesn't even look like there is any bumps at all. It just fades on there very, very nicely. And then it kind of has this red line going around to the front, which looks like the end of one leg, or I guess that's kind of going around. I love this back design. I love the front one, but this back one is so nice in my opinion. Now, for the rest of this texture of the figure, I think it looks so good. And the blue, like I mentioned, looks very good. It's kind of going up the torso like an arrow, kind of looks like Hawkeye logo right here. You have it on the biceps there and then on the legs as well. But this whole texture is quite, it's like a, I don't know what to describe it as, but I guess you can kind of see what it is. It's very, very nice overall. But for the rest of this figure, that's kind of just what is going on. It's just that texture throughout with these kind of scaly looking chainmails throughout. And then for the feet, you just have red bottoms, and they do look good. You have some kind of legalese there. Also, on the inner thigh, you did have that factory code, but I did kind of cover that up because it looked weird on the thumbnail, and they didn't want to have that in the thumbnail. But yeah, for the rest of this figure overall, I'm just very, very impressed with Hasbro's work, and I really would recommend you getting this figure. You know, I think you would enjoy it a lot, but certainly you would enjoy it way more than at least I think you think of it from just seeing the photos, as everyone kind of has that same opinion, but I really, really do like these figures 10 times more than I was expecting. But yeah, I think that's all I really have to say for the actual sculpt of this figure. Absolutely love it. But without further ado, let's get on to Miles Morales' articulation. Now, for the articulation on this figure, it is quite good. The head does go back a lot. Wow, very, very good. Down that much, a little bit of tilt. Yeah, a little bit, not a lot. Full 360, arms do go out that much. Be very careful, like I mentioned earlier. Down, full 360, bicep swivel. Wow, that is skinny. I was going to say single jointed, double jointed, pinless elbows, which look very, very good. Once again, very impressed with how Hasbro pulled that off. And both sets of hands are on horizontal hinges, so up and down and full 360 on both sets. Ab crunch goes down that much. Kind of looks weird, but, you know, not too weird. Back, waist cut, full 360. Kind of a ratchety kind of sound. Legs kick up that much. Back, splits, upper thigh cut, double jointed pinless knees. I was going to say pin for a sec, but that looks very, very good. And then the ankles, very stiff. That's kind of the main part that I heated up when I opened this figure, but they go up, down. You can kind of even see them still bending, and ankle rocker pivot. But yeah, overall, pretty good articulation. The cherry on top would have been butterfly joints. That would have made this figure a 10 out of 10. But still, with what we have here, I think this does the job well enough by all means. First, for comparisons, here we have the Miles Morales next to the Spider-Gwen, as well as the Spider-Man 2099. Both are from the same wave, and wow, these look so good together. Specifically out of the box, I've mentioned that numerous times, but more importantly, together, they just look so good, and the animated design looks amazing. Doesn't look like Marvel Legends, but I have to say, that's a good thing because, you know, they're not trying to be, you know, your standard Marvel Legends here. They're very animated, very stylized, and I do have to say, Hasbro really pulled that off, and I don't know if that is a controversial opinion. By all means, it could be, but looking at this frame, I'm very impressed with what I see here. Next up for comparisons, here we have Miles Morales next to Miles Morales, as well as Miles Morales. Now, specifically, the Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales from the Stillman Build-A-Figure wave, as well as the Armadillo Build-A-Figure wave Gamerverse Spider-Man Miles Morales. This figure, though, is getting a complete cut copy repaint later this year, which I'm probably going to skip on that. I have no desire to get that as I already have that figure, but there is no reuse across any of these, specifically these two. I thought there might have been, but this is a complete new costume. I still want to get this figure just with the black Spider-Man costume without the shorts and the hoodie. I think that would be a very cool figure, but maybe down the line. Next up for comparisons, here we have the Into the Spider-Verse Stillman Build-A-Figure wave Prowler, as well as the Spot from this very wave. I love that figure so much. Here we have some other Miles comparisons, being the Venomized Miles Morales, as well as the Miles accessory that is included with this Spot. I love this accessory so much. Next for comparisons, here we have the Miles Morales next to the Spider-Man Noir, as well as the Peter B. Parker from this same wave. Here we have the Miles Morales next to the Cyborg Spider-Woman, which is an amazing figure, as well as the normal Spider-Woman figure, which also is quite an amazing figure as well. Lastly, for Spider-Verse comparisons, here we have the Miles Morales next to the Spider-Ham, as well as the Spider-Punk from the same wave. Love that figure. Lastly, for comparisons, here we have the Miles Morales next to the retro-carded animated Spider-Man figure. Love that figure so much, as well as just a standard Bucky Cap Hydra Soldier figure. And for my final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 Miles Morales figure, I have to say I am very happy and pleased with what Hasbro has given us here. I truly want to give them credit where credit is due. Trust me, I love to bash on Hasbro where I think it is well fitted, but with this figure and all these figures in this wave specifically, I really do think these figures are way better than people are saying. And really with this Miles Morales in particular, I absolutely love what Hasbro did here, and I love the translation of the animated design. I think it really does work here, and I have just not been able to put this figure down ever since I got it. I truly do recommend it, and I think you will be way more pleased with it than you expect. Now, for my rating of it, with the price on account being $36, I'm gonna give like a in between 8.5 and 9. I'm feeling so. Let's land at like a 8. I don't want to do 8.75, so let's do 8.8. I think that is a fair rating for this figure. I really do enjoy it, and I think you will as well. But as always, let me know what you think of this figure in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you not? Have you been turned to the light side of the opinion war, at least on all of these Spider-Verse figures? As always, let me know what you think of this figure in the comments below, and I will try my best to respond. But until my next video, thank you so much for watching this one. I truly appreciate it. I have been Jagger Collector. He has been Miles, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.